Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute, but also those who are following us in different parts of the state, different states in the Union, and throughout North America, throughout all the continents, throughout the various parts of the world. PBBI is thankful that you are a supporter, that you are also a part of our ongoing efforts here at the Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute at the California State University, Fresno, where classes are beginning to wind down the end of the semester here within the next few days as well. But of course, through PBBI, we have an amalgam of events that will continue even though classes will be out and will start earlier than classes begin in late January at Fresno State, or the third week of January at Fresno State. And so we are here today to talk to you about one of our projects. We'll be doing that often, as you have seen. And the project that we want to talk to you about very, very quickly is, of course, one of the projects that has to do with PBBI at Fresno State. And so I'm going to try to share with you my screen here. Sometimes that works, sometimes not as well as one wants it to work, but we'll see what happens here. And yes, it is. So hopefully you are able to follow along and you can see what I have shared here on your screen as you are following us through Facebook Live. And thanks again to all the various groups who have agreed to carry us. We appreciate that very, very much, because indeed we like to reach as many people as we can here through PBBI at Fresno State. So thank you all for sharing the information on your group. Filamentos, Artes e Letras, that's Portuguese for arts and letters, is something that we've made you aware of. We're very, very proud of this platform because it is reaching more and more people. It is growing organically. We are not investing. We don't have the funds, even if we wanted to, but we don't have the funds, and we have not invested in any advertising other than word of mouth, other than asking you to look at it and to share it with your family and friends. And every day we have hundreds of people who follow us. Every day we have hundreds of people who click on one or two or three of the stories, and we appreciate that very, very much. So it's called Filamentos, Artes e Letras. Again, that's the Portuguese version of arts and letters. And we have there an acknowledgement to FLAD, that is the Luso-American Development Foundation from Lisbon, Portugal. And they are supporters, continuous supporters from day one that PBBI was founded in February now of 2018. So here in a couple of months, we will be commemorating our indeed sixth anniversary of PBBI at Fresno State. And from day one, actually, it was with seed money from FLAD that we founded PBBI, and they have been a continuing supporter of the Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute and all of our endeavors. We started with basically a mandate to do some oral history and to do a couple of conferences. We have extended those on both the conferences and the oral history, done a lot of different projects throughout the last almost 6 years. And one of them that we started here about a year and a half ago, almost a year and a half, is Filamentos, Artes e Letras, or as you can see here on the screen, Filamentos, Artes e Letras .art. If you Google it, you can just go, of course, if you Google Filamentos, Artes e Letras, it will take you to the site, or you can go directly by just basically Googling or putting in your browser Filamentos, Artes e Letras .art, and you'll be able to see our site, our platform. We have many, many different things that we put on there. We try to put on there one different publication every single day. Some days we aren't able to, and we do obviously take a few days off here and there, but some of the days we make up for it. The days that we do not have any publications, we have made up for it by on certain days having 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, for example, yesterday, December 8th, we had 4 different publications. On December the 7th, we had 4 as well. Many days we have 1 or 2. Many days we just have 1. But today, so far, we actually have, as you can see there, December 9th, we have 2. There'll probably be another one going up as well. But one of the things we'd like to talk to you is about a brand new So besides putting some literary works, some literary news about cultural. This is basically a cultural dialogue between those who like culture and those who create it. It is a way to have a literary platform in the Azorean Diaspora, wherever one is, because it's accessible to anyone and free of charge anywhere you're at. And we have ongoing segments. So every week we try to have some different ongoing segments. And we've just began a new one that I'd like to share with you, which is called Voices of Transformation, Poetry for an Evolving World. And have I have here our vision and mission statement for this new project that you can read if you like to take the time to do that. Very, very quickly, the vision statement is to create a global platform where poetry becomes a catalyst for understanding, for empathy and action, highlighting the transformative power of words to address and inspire solutions for the pressing issues of our evolving world. And so the mission statement is a bit longer. You can take some time if you like to read it. And we kicked it off with this wonderful poem by our very good friend Aníbal C. Pires, who lives in Ponte Delgada in the Azores, who wrote this wonderful poem just 2 days ago and has been translated by myself. And it is now online, and it is now our very first kickoff edition of this segment called Voices of Transformation, Poetry for an Evolved World. We will be putting one up every, I would say, 9 to 10 days. So basically, at least 3 to 4 per week. And in this series. They will be either translated from Portuguese to English, or some of them may be already written in English and they'll be put up as well. We invite poets, especially, who write about things from an ongoing perspective of what's going on in the world, to be part of this. So if you are a poet, please take advantage of it. Send me an email to dborges@mail.fresnostate.edu. We would like to have all kinds of voices. And so the idea is, again, Voices of Transformation, poetry for an evolving world. Hopefully you'll like it. Hopefully you'll comment on it. And hopefully, if you are a poet or writer, you can also participate in it as well. We have, of course, many different things. As you can see there, we yesterday, the original Mother's Day in Portugal was on the 8th of December, which is the day of the Catholic holiday of the Immaculate Conception. And for example, that day we put on here the original Mother's Day, a wonderful piece of art and a poem that was translated also to English from an excellent poet, Vitor de Lima Meireles, who lives in Ponte Delgada, also in the Azores. And we also had a brief explanation about what is the Immaculate Conception and how it's commemorated, of course, in Portugal. And you can see that there as well. So we have a lot of different things from a lot of different perspectives. A story wonderfully done on Flavio Cristóvão. Cristóvão is a wonderful musician who composes his own music and also writes many of his lyrics, and also sings in English. Music is what gives me the most pleasure in life. We'd love to see him in California. So a lot of different things like that that we have through the Filamentos Artes e Letras dot ART. And again, a cultural, literary, and artistic platform as well. Some of the things that we have on an ongoing basis, for example, the 10th Island, which is a segment by José Andrade, in which we take some of his texts that he has written and has published in the book here in 2023, about a year ago, called Transatlântico, As Migrações nos Açores. And we have an ongoing segment where we take one of his texts and one of his articles, and we translate it to English. The segment is called 10th Island. And again, it's basically on a weekly basis, some days every 9 days, but we try to make it a weekly basis of different things related to his writings that have been published, but have been done, of course, in Portuguese, and we translate it to English and have here on the Filamentos Artes e Letras. Another of the weekly segments that we have been doing is one on Camões. We'll continue that in 2025 as we commemorate his 500th anniversary. Sometimes it's just, with one of his poems, as you have here, with a brief explanation. We have also published some other things on Camões, including some literary presentations, some talks on Camões, a lot of different things that we feel are of interest to those who like to learn on an ongoing basis about the Portuguese experience, about the Portuguese culture, about the Portuguese history, about the Portuguese arts and letters, especially. We also have a segment that we're ending, which is called Journey of Words, Natalia Correia and her 100th anniversary, commemorating it here in the United States. Here's another one of her poems in English. We have a cátedra, which is an area of studies dedicated to literature, culture, research, and publications on Natalia Correia as part of PBBI at Fresno State. And so Natalia, even though this segment is ending, Natalia will be a strong part of what we do on an ongoing basis, with probably something every single week here in Filamentos about Natalia Correia as well. We have also been doing one on the Carnation Revolution, and that one we will continue until April, until the 50th anniversary is gone. We call it Carnations of Freedom. California commemorates the Golden Jubilee of the Carnation Revolution. It's a regular segment, as it's in here on PBBI at Fresno State. This one here was about Otelo Saraiva de Carvalho, who has already passed, but who was one of the heroes of the revolution. And it is a wonderful piece written by Francisco Barão de Cunha, and in the publication by the Association 25 de Abril, o Referencial. So the ongoing publication of about once a week as well, Carnations of Freedom. California commemorates the Golden Jubilee of the Carnation Revolution. And then of course these are all archived. You can go back from the beginning of the platform. I was going to say the beginning of time, but obviously the beginning of time of the platform, and look at all of the different things that we continue to do here with this platform. If you read in Portuguese, there's these lovely stories here that were written by Commander Jorge Betancourt, and also a couple of members of his family as well. It's called Aos 100 Anos, and it's stories about his father, a fascinating man. And we invite you to also share some of your creative nonfiction pieces, if you'd like to share them here, or poetry or fiction. We'd be more than happy to put them on Filamentos Arts and Letters in the Azorean Diaspora. It's important to us to have a mixture of different things. And so, for example, just as one more example for you, this one called A Chat About St. Michael's. St. Michael is the island of São Miguel in the Azores, by Francis Lewis Julian. Yeah, our good friend Manuel Menezes de Sequeira, who is a professor emeritus now living in the island of Pico, discovered this text. He is a wonderful researcher, and he shared it on his Facebook page, allowed us to share it here. And although there's some issues with some of the writing, but I invite you to take some time. There's 10 different chapters. They're all very small, as you can see here. There's already chapter 2, and it gives a wonderful description about the Azores from a historical aspect, because the writer Francis Lewis Julian wrote this, and this was actually published in article format between April 27th and May 4th, or I should say on April 27th, May 4th, and May 11th and 18th of 1893. 1893, so over 130 years ago, in a publication that still exists now on online format, the Ross Gazette. And so it's a beautiful presentation about very interesting, about the Azores in the 1800s, and how this English person saw the Azores in the 1800s as he traveled there. So lots of different things that we do. If you're interested in arts and letters, if you're interested in knowing about Azorean culture is very rich. It's much more than sometimes in the diaspora we're used to. We're used to just, snippets of it or what's pop culture, but Azorean culture is very rich. I pride myself in reading lots of Azorean literature and history on a weekly basis. And every time I translate or present one of these articles and read it, I learn something that I did not know about the Azores. So I hope you can also, and I want to share this with everyone. That's what our job is. One of our jobs, many multiple hats at PBBI. That's the Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute at Fresno State. Filamentos, Artes and Letras is a product of one of our segments, which is Bruma Publications. You can see here, Bruma Publications publishes books. We've been very fortunate to publish over a dozen books in 2 years, but we also publish online with two different platforms, and the one I want to talk about today is Filamentos Artes and Letras. Talk to you about all the different things that we do, and invite you to take in our newest segment, which is called Voices of Transformation, Poetry for an Evolving World, as you can see here. And we will feature one poem, and this one poem by our good friend, my very good friend, Aníbal C. Pires, who lives in the island of São Miguel in Ponta Delgada, a retired educator, political activist, poet, writer, collaborates regularly with the Azorean Press, is really an impressive human being. And so I invite you to be part of Arts and Letters Filamentos, and it is on an ongoing basis. When you read a story at the end, there's a place if you want to comment, and at the end there's also a place if you write your email, you'll receive an email, a notification in your inbox every time we publish something. So it's one way to kind of know what is going on with Filamentos Artes e Letras. Again, kind of simple. Just Google Filamentos Artes e Letras, or go directly to filamentoarteseletras.art. And as you saw there, most of the stories are in English, but we also have stories in Portuguese. We also have literary criticism in Portuguese. We also have essays in Portuguese. We also have poems in Portuguese. But it's about 60%, I would say, very close to 60% in English and about 40% in Portuguese. So it's bilingual in that sense, and it's a way to have a cultural and a literary dialogue between those who are writers, obviously, poets, those who are historians in both the islands and the diaspora, but also those like us who are not poets, who are not historians, but who want to learn on an ongoing basis a lot about the Azores, whether it be the land we were born, as in my case, as an immigrant coming over, a proud immigrant, very, very proud immigrant of coming over at the age of 10, or whether it is our children or our grandchildren, or so whether it was your parents or your grandparents or even your great grandparents, or in some cases in California and Hawaii, their great great grandparents were the ones who immigrated, and also some parts of the East Coast as well. We have many folks now who are fourth and fifth generation. You can learn about the Azores on an ongoing basis through all that we do at PBBI Fresno State. Filamentos Artes e Letras is just one of those segments. On behalf of PBBI, the Portuguese Beyond Borders Institute, I thank you for joining us. Have a happy holiday season. We'll be in touch with you with the different programs that we have between now and the holiday season. And of course, we'll kick off with lots of different year-end things and lots of different things that we will have next semester as well. Feliz Natal, Bom Ano Novo, happy Christmas to everyone, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, happy holidays, and thank you all for being part of PBBI at Fresno State.